Greetings, everyone. I'm so excited to tell you and introduce you to a local artist, Rene Williams, and what she does and the what she is planning to do this summer with both her 4th Street studio and also her pollinator event. So, without further ado, let's learn a little bit from Rene. All right. Well, thank you so much for Zooming with me this morning, Renee. I think the first thing I would love to do is just turn it over to you and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and yeah, and about your art.
Okay. Um, I just want to bring up this point. When I was in high school, I thought I would be an accountant, and that was what I went to college for. And I was a small business consultant and an accountant for 20 years. But I always like to tell younger people of all ages, life is such a long journey. It's so great to keep your doors and your eyes open. You don't have to pick what you're going to be now. You just do what you think is right, and it keeps evolving. So after when I had 3 boys, we lived in Tucson, Arizona, and I was married to my husband, David. He's a botanist, and he just said, I was all stressed out with my job. I had my own business and I loved it. It's like what I thought I wanted to do, but it was stressful. So he said, let's just sell everything and move to France. So we did. And that experience changed everything in our lives. So after that, we came to Laramie and decided this is where we want to raise our kids. It's actually very similar to our lifestyle in France. We rode our bikes everywhere, very outdoor neighborhood, community. Everybody kind of is close knit. So that's kind of when I got into art and architecture even more when we were in France, because I always liked it. So anyway, that's kind of how I got into that. And just living in Laramie, I never went back to that CPA accounting lifestyle. It's helped me with running, what I do here, but I don't have to do it every day. So that's kind of how I got here. And I started remodeling houses, the houses that we were buying, and using like art and architecture together, like mosaics and concrete. I started loving concrete countertops, concrete floors, just kind of like saying, I'm going to do everything my way. There's no rules about life. Like with accounting, there's rules that now there's not. So I just started making art and learning about art. And then I went back to school and I got my bachelor's of fine arts here in Wyoming. So I focused on metalsmithing because I've been drawn to jewelry so much, and sculpture because I've been drawn to concrete and big things and welding. And so I just finished up not that long ago. So that's kind of how I got here. And then these two worlds have merged, and I started Science Loves Art, which is a nonprofit. So because of the CPA knowledge I had, I could kind of negotiate how to become a nonprofit with the IRS. And so now we're able to get grants and do more for the community and get funding. So this Pollinator Festival is actually a fundraiser for Science Loves Art. And Science Loves Art and my art are all based out of 4th Street Studios, which is our downtown studio. So
Awesome.
How was that for an answer?
Great answer. No, thank you so much for telling us. I love your journey, and I think you bring up such a good point of like finding your, different paths throughout your life, and you don't have to stick to just one thing your entire life.
Yeah.
So you brought up the 4th Street Studio. What is the 4th Street Studio?
Okay, so this is a really interesting property that my husband found. We've lived in several places in Laramie, and we fix it up and we love it. But then my husband finds these funky places. So this place was for sale, 4th Street Studios, the house next door. There's a barn in the back, and there's a greenhouse in the back that we didn't even know was a greenhouse because the property is just falling apart. It was built in 1915. This was the original Laramie Floral. So when my husband saw this property, there were lawyers renting the house as their business. And the backyard was just weeds and trees and like really bad. Like if you look at 4th Street Studios website, foreststreetstudios.com. We have some like before and in progress pictures. It's crazy how it looked. So we ended up buying this property, and we've eventually moved in next door. So we've redone that whole thing. We redid the greenhouse back to its original. It was built in 1926. It was a Victorian greenhouse. It had a glass curved top. It was a Lord and Burnham Victorian greenhouse kit. And it took us a while. Like, we didn't even know that. We just thought, there were trees growing out of it, and all the glass was broken out except for a few pieces. So now I always kind of wanted a place downtown that I could work and have the community come by. So we've integrated more and more into the downtown community. But I live next door, so it's kind of nice. I can just run back and forth. And then we have the greenhouse in the back. So it's a little bit of history that we're trying to preserve for downtown Laramie. We're stuck right here, surrounded by commercial buildings. We're behind New to You. Alibi is kind of catty corner. And so, we've had people say, man, you should just break that house down and sell it, make so much money, but we're not going to do that. We're trying to make this pocket of history and share it with the community, So I work here. We're not really open every day, but we do have an online store. We're on Etsy. We make art kits and ship them all over the world. Suminagashi marbling, paint pour, and I design them. And then we have different students that I think Kyle Moore and Lana. They both work for Science Loves Art part-time, and they help me put the kits together. So that's what we do. We're going to be open this summer on Saturdays, and bring some plants that we're growing in the greenhouse, and I make like body salves and more kits and art experiences out on the front porch. So that's kind of how it's evolved into a place that we envisioned as like a community place to do art and gardening and science.
Wow, that's a beautiful combination of so many things. And I love the historical part of it. I never knew the history of the greenhouse, and wow. And then just having, I've always thought that would be neat to have a studio right next to where you live, and then you could just go back and forth but have that space that is dedicated to art making, and and other, like, many other things that you have going on there. That's awesome. I didn't know all those parts, so that's really fun. So you also mentioned the pollinator event. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, a few years ago, well, first of all, I was selected to be on a National Science Foundation grant 5 years ago as the artist for outreach. So that opened my eyes to because it's a microbe grant. So I'm like, I don't know anything about microbes. So how can I bring that to the community? So we started the Fermentation Festival, which is all about fermenting and microbes and all of that, which I'm totally addicted to now, to everything fermented. Like, that's why I have this refrigerator in my studio now. We make water kefir, ginger beer, and all of that. So along with that, we were talking about like pollination, bees, how important they are to everything in our lives. So we started a pollinator festival a few years ago. It was just kind of like a backyard thing. So this year we're having a bigger version as kind of a kickoff to summer. And we're planting a pollinator garden in the front of the studio all along the street, because it's just like concrete. It's taken us a year to get the approval from the city, to get the concrete busted out, to get the trees and all that. So it's going to happen June 4th. All the trees are going to be planted. We have volunteers coming to help us with planting those gardens. So we thought the Pollinator Festival would be a good time to kind of kick off summer, bring awareness to the pollinator gardens and the bees, introduce some of our fermented drinks and foods to the community, and kind of just show people what we do here. And so that's what we're going to do on Saturday at that corner parking lot on Grand and South 4th. We're not sure if we're going to have all the cars out of there from the tenants, so it's a little like wonky, but we have live music. We have 2 bands. coming. We have the UW Conservatory, the big botany building. Sarah's going to come and talk about native plants. We have bee people coming. We're going to do paper making. And I'm going to show how I do paper making using plants and different pigments from flowers. So I have a bunch collected. So it's just kind of like a kickoff to art and science and plants and honey. And we'll have the studio open too. So I don't know, it's kind of just grown into this fun thing, but it's not just one day. We're going to continue it through the whole summer.
Oh,
so,
awesome.
Yeah. So
wow, that sounds like a great kickoff to the summer. Just a perfect way to kick the summer off. And everybody's welcome, right? Like anybody can come.
Yeah, it's free. We are charging a little bit for like if for the drinks and stuff. It's all a fundraiser for Science Loves Art. So we're going to sell little coins, Science Loves Art coins in the studio. And then from those little coins, they're like $5 each or something. Then you can go and you can do like paper making and make paper. You can go try out some ginger beer that we made from scratch and learn how to do that yourself. You can do all kinds of things. Or you could just plant the garden. It's free. You listen to music. We're going to get straw bale, sitting out. So there'll be lots of places to sit and hang out. And yeah, don't have to spend a dime. You could just come hang out.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, I definitely am planning to stop by and see it.
Good.
So my sister is also a microbiologist and she makes her own kombucha. And yeah, so I feel like we should connect you guys.
No.
Like all the fermented things. And she's taught me a lot about the microbiome and just this idea of fermented things being so good for your body.
Well, and I've learned so much about and I'm making some videos to put on our website because so many people don't know. They think that it's gross or like it's moldy. It's not. It's actually the opposite of moldy. It will not get moldy.
Right.
Like the water kefir. I have a bottle sitting out for weeks and it just gets fizzy and fizzy. It doesn't go bad. It's crazy. So it's kind of a fun world and it's an old world. That's how everybody used to drink things like ginger beer was made with ginger a long time ago. And that's how I made it for people to try.
So cool.
So, so it's not like fake ginger syrup with carbonation. It's real ginger and real fizzy. So yeah, it'll be fun to see what people think,
That is that's so fun. If I were to, if students were to want to get involved with what you do, is there a way that they can get involved?
Yeah, they should email me. We're on Instagram and Facebook, and I try to check messages on there, but they can email me too at info@fourthstreetstudios.com. And I'm all, they can check out Science Loves Art website too and see what's going on. But there's always something to do around here. And we're doing the farmers markets on Friday. We do interactive things with the community. Sometimes we get called out to do community events at the library or the seniors with senior citizen groups or 4-H groups. And sometimes we just want to do art. And it would be great to have students that know a little bit about art. Like let's say a student who's really interested in printmaking or making stamps. I have a vinyl cutter here. We can do so much with that. We do glass fusing here. If anybody wants to do glass fusing, I would love some designs done that we could hang in the window, So there's a lot that we're doing that we're not doing yet because, I have a laser cutter and it isn't even turned on because I don't know how to do it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't either. It would be fun to learn how to do that.
Yeah, maybe that's a project that we could do is like get that laser cutter out, figure out how to get it going. What would be some projects that you guys could do with the laser cutter and then teach us, and then maybe we could add those to our kits, or maybe we could create a fun, something from the laser cutter because it's like a whole new world,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, every time I like run into these new mediums, and it's you know, you have a learning curve, but then it's really fun to just be able to say that you have that in your toolbox, you know, in your art kit, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And the vinyl cutter is super fun. It kind of combines the digital world. So I've taken some prints that people have made. Sarah Conrad, do you know her? She
yes,
does printmaking, and we had some of her artwork in here. And so I said, let's make shirts out of your designs. So we digitized her designs, and then we're putting those on shirts. And so we can create a ton of, if we want, so there's
yeah.
a lot we can do. So your students, I'm sure, have fun ideas, and they might not know how it would fit in, but they should get in touch, and we should have like summer powwows and stuff, and just sit outside and think about art.
That sounds so beautiful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, Renee. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we call it a day?
I would say if anybody wants to volunteer or help out for the festival, if they just let me know. If they don't, if they just want to come hang out, that's fine too. But I'm kind of putting together a little like volunteer list and putting out, little tasks for people. And so if they want to help, or even just for like 1 or 2 hours, like plant flowers or whatever, let me know. But if not, just get in touch. And I just love collaborating with the community. So anything that you guys think of, I'm up for. So
Okay.
thanks so much. It's
Yeah.
so good to see
Yeah.
you too.
So good to see you too. It's just a pleasure. So I love to hear everything that you're doing. And every time I talk to you, you've added something new that's really cool. So yeah,
Well,
awesome.
new is fun, always change and add stuff. So
Yeah.
the more ideas, the better, I think.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to show too, like along with changing through your life, you can continue to learn and grow. So
Hmm.
always good to know too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Well, I look forward to meeting you all in person someday, and just keep in touch. Maybe I'll see you Saturday.
sounds good. All right. Well, take care. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks so much. I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Well, that was great. And I hope you learned a lot from Renee and are thinking about going and just being a part of the pollinator event or just also being part of the 4th Street Studio. All right. Have a great day.